The series begins in London. Soledad Marcel, a skilled Talamasca agent, infiltrates the organization's London mother house, a centuries-old institution devoted to observing supernatural entities from the shadows. She's after something hidden deep in their archives, a file labeled Chrysalis. Inside, everything is redacted except for one word: alias. Using it as a password, she hacks into the digital archives, transfers the data onto a drive, and hides it inside a cigarette pack. Outside, under the veil of night, she marks a red phone booth with an X, a traditional dead drop signal, and prepares to stash the envelope containing the drive. But she's not alone. A strange figure follows her, more creature than man. Desperate, she hides the envelope in a nearby park between a slide and a wooden bridge. Her attempt to escape leads her through an abandoned warehouse and into a rail yard, where she comes face to face with Jasper, a chillingly composed figure flanked by revenant-like beings. They are undead servants, feral, obedient, and utterly inhuman. Jasper clicks a small device, sending his creatures toward her. Whispering a quiet prayer, "Father, forgive me," Soledad steps onto the train tracks, allowing an oncoming locomotive to end her life before Jasper's monsters can. Across the Atlantic in New York City, the news of Soledad's death reaches to Helen, a high-ranking Talamasca overseer. On her desk sits a grisly message from Jasper, a gilded box containing Soledad's eyeball, alongside a note that reads, "We see you." Helen understands. Jasper knows they're investigating him, and he's warning her off. She tells her assistant to find a replacement for Soledad immediately. Meanwhile, we meet Guy Anatol, a brilliant young law graduate interviewing at the prestigious firm Cavett and Associates. On the surface, he's poised and driven, but inside, Guy is spiraling. He possesses a burden he's long tried to suppress. He can hear people's thoughts. During the interview, he senses every judgment and doubt of the partners questioning him. Overwhelmed, he excuses himself to the bathroom, takes anxiety pills, and flashes back to childhood memories in a church, voices flooding his mind as a woman in confession calls his ability a gift. When Guy returns, he finds unexpected news. He got the job. But as he steps outside, Helen follows him through the busy streets of Manhattan. Cornering him in an alley, she offers him a card with the cryptic motto, "We watch and we are always there," and promises $5,000 if he will simply hear her out. Curious and desperate for cash, Guy agrees. Helen meets him in a quiet library and introduces herself as part of the Talamasca, which she vaguely describes as a secretive research organization, a cross between a think tank and an intelligence agency. She praises Guy's intellect and his perceptiveness, hinting she knows about his telepathic ability. Guy accuses her of hiding something, but she only says he'll learn more further down the road. When he opens the envelope she gave him, he doesn't find money. Only a childhood letter he wrote to Santa Claus. Alarmed and suspicious, Guy flies to Florida to confront his foster mother, Ruth, who reveals that Helen arranged his adoption years ago. The Talamasca had been watching over him his entire life. Ruth insists they helped him become the man he is, but when she nearly admits something more, she grows terrified and flees. Back in New York, Helen discusses with her assistant the mysterious 752, a secret project apparently located in London, while her superior Archie prepares to travel there. Across the ocean, Jasper oversees revenants locked in basement cells, his control signaled by that ominous clicker. Guy's paranoia peaks. He confronts Helen, accusing her of manipulating his entire life. She admits the Talamasca sponsored his education and career, but insists he earned everything himself. To prove she's not his enemy, she takes him to meet Burton, an eccentric, centuries-old vampire living in a penthouse at the Dakota. Burton is charming but sinister. He reveals what Helen wouldn't. The Talamasca's true purpose is to monitor vampires, witches, demons, and ghosts, the hidden shadow world. When Guy uses his telepathy on Burton, the vampire instantly senses it. Time freezes around them as Burton warns Guy that his mind is a two-way street. Demonstrating his powers, Burton compels Guy to step onto a window ledge and nearly fall to his death before catching himself. He tells Guy that vampires will either fear or exploit his gift, and before releasing him, he plants one final seed. They're lying to you. Shaken, Guy storms off. Helen urges him to run from all of it, but curiosity and the desire to uncover the truth about his mother keeps him tethered. That night, Burton visits Guy's apartment, leaving behind an open copy of Interview with the Vampire with the name Anna Lemus circled, the name of Guy's supposedly dead mother. Seeking answers, Guy tracks down journalist Daniel Malloy, the author of Interview with the Vampire. Daniel insists the Talamasca inserted that page about Anna. He warns that they're watching both of them, and then drops a bombshell. Guy's mother is alive, last seen in London. The proof? A recent photograph. Determined to find her, Guy agrees to join the Talamasca, officially stepping into their world of secrets. Next, London's cold light reveals Soledad's death scene at the rail yard, but her body is half-eaten, her remains grotesquely incomplete. Investigators Ridge and her partner note a strange, clay-like residue nearby. Inside the London mother house, its director Owen briefs Jasper on the investigation. Jasper seems unconcerned, knowing Soledad's demise can't be traced to him. What worries him more is Helen, who will soon send a replacement. In New York, Helen debriefs Guy on his mission. He'll travel to London under the guise of taking a sabbatical from his new law firm. She provides him a laptop, access code Dark Horse, and several untraceable debit cards. This mission, she warns, is off the books. Even the Talamasca hierarchy doesn't know about it. His assignment: infiltrate the rogue London branch and uncover whatever they're hiding about the 752. Guy undergoes crash training, decoding messages using book ciphers, learning signal protocols, and memorizing cover stories. His handler will contact him in London, but Helen stresses that he'll be alone until then. Before parting ways, Guy asks her name. She gives one, but whether it's real remains unclear. In London, Guy settles into a modest flat near the mother house and begins his undercover life. At the same time, Checkers, a local field operative, is reprimanded by Owen for a breach in security. Unbeknownst to him, Soledad had stolen his ID to break into the secure archives. As Jasper watches through surveillance feeds, he seems amused by Checkers' defiance, remarking, "I like this one." Meanwhile, Guy's cover job places him at a Soho peep show, where he works as a street barker, conveniently positioned near the red phone booth marked by Soledad's final X. His nights are restless, haunted by insomnia and flashes of his mother's face. In his downtime, he transfers restricted Talamasca files onto his personal laptop, but every record on Anna Lemus is blacked out. One evening at a pub, Guy meets Kevis, a free-spirited woman with a mischievous charm. They flirt, drink, and dance before heading to a secretive party. There, another woman, Olive, kisses both of them, then whispers to Guy that he's in trouble. Only later does he realize Olive may be his Talamasca handler. Guy spends the night with Kevis, unaware of the storm ahead. The next morning, she's gone, leaving a sticky note on his forehead: "You're my Guy." Days later, during his shift, Guy spots a sanitation worker peeling the tape X off the red phone booth, a signal that a dead drop awaits. Following the clues, he finds a burner phone hidden in a parked trash can, displaying the phrase "music stream." He deciphers the message to mean Victoria Park's bandstand, where he finds an envelope containing a photo of Archie and cryptic instructions. His mission: tail Archie, gather intel, and never engage. Guy follows Archie to a high-end restaurant where he secretly photographs him dining with Jasper and Owen. While eavesdropping through his telepathy, Guy accidentally exposes himself. Jasper's vampiric mind instantly detects the intrusion. What do we have here? Jasper projects, locking eyes with Guy through the window. Terrified, Guy flees. He tracks Archie to a decaying apartment building, hearing screams from inside. Rushing in, Guy discovers a gruesome scene. Archie slumped against a wall with his throat cut, and Kevis hanging dead from the ceiling, the woman he just slept with. Before dying, Archie weakly gestures toward Kevis's bag, whispering, "Book." Inside is the same mysterious scrapbook she carried earlier. Realizing his DNA is now all over a double homicide, Guy panics and runs. His mission has turned into a nightmare. His handler is dead, the London mother house is compromised, and Jasper knows he's there. Next, we see a flashback to Amsterdam in 1972, where the Talamasca's massive archives burn inside the headquarters. The destruction of centuries of records becomes the foundation for a mystery that continues in the present day, where Ridge inspects the crime scene involving the deaths of Kevis and Archie. Although the official explanation is murder-suicide, Ridge notes mismatched details: the lack of blood at the scene, the improbability of Kevis moving Archie's body, and an unidentified hair found on him. She asks for forensic confirmation as she grows suspicious that the case may involve outside forces. Guy returns to his duties in Soho, watching for signals from his handler. When he receives a coded message, he follows it to a pub where Helen and Olive are waiting. Olive reiterates that Guy is now in danger. Helen explains that something known as the 752 has gone missing, an object connected to the Talamasca's ancient record-keeping. She reveals that the organization was founded in 752 AD, and all its knowledge became their leverage against immortals. After the Amsterdam fire, rumors spread that a single codex survived containing everything that was lost. Kevis, a witch skilled at extracting information, may have obtained it, making her a target. Guy realizes that the large book he once saw in Kevis's possession could have been the 752. Helen insists Guy must infiltrate the London mother house to uncover how Archie and Kevis became entangled in the hunt for it. Ignoring Olive's warning to rest, Guy returns to Kevis's flat and confirms the book is missing. Shaken by a brief hallucination of Kevis's body, he later attends her coven's wake. They treat him with suspicion, but Doris approaches him, claiming Kevis had spoken of him. When Guy attempts to read Doris's mind, she blocks him. She reveals that Kevis's mysterious book was simply a scrapbook and pointedly accuses Guy of being part of the Talamasca. Elsewhere, Checkers celebrates a promotion and an upcoming transfer to Jakarta, only to be abducted. Later, he awakens in Jasper's basement among revenants. Jasper drinks from him, forces a black fluid from his body, then has him buried alive, implying a horrific transformation. Helen privately investigates her own past. She visits a derelict mansion that once housed a Talamasca training facility. In visions, she sees herself as a child with her twin sister. Guy has followed her and presses her about the truth. Helen admits she was raised and tested by the organization before being removed by her uncle, but she avoids discussing her sister. Guy accuses her of manipulating him to reach his mother, Anna Lemus, a Talamasca operative long believed dead. He announces he wants out and intends to return to the US, but Helen blocks him, insisting he's essential to confronting Jasper, the vampire who has quietly taken control of the London mother house. Meanwhile, Olive infiltrates the police station under an MI5 alias and quietly obtains the autopsy photographs. Ridge later reviews CCTV footage and sees Guy following Archie on the night he died, evidence that puts him on her radar. Helen reviews the autopsy images and notices the bite marks on Archie's neck, confirming vampire involvement. Ridge interviews members of Kevis's coven and attempts to link Guy to the crime scene, though Doris denies recognizing his shoes in a photograph. Guy, overwhelmed, considers numbing himself with medication, but instead approaches the London mother house directly. Confronting Owen, he accuses him of orchestrating Kevis and Archie's deaths. Jasper arrives mid-conversation, having watched the exchange through the office camera. Guy tells him the Talamasca destroyed his life, withheld the truth about his mother, and used him as a pawn. He declares he wants revenge on the organization. Jasper listens, intrigued, and suggests cooperating. He claims to know who possessed the 752 and who killed Archie, proposing that their combined information can uncover the truth and expose the Talamasca's secrets. Guy agrees to the alliance. As he tries to leave, Jasper insists on escorting him, unwilling to let him roam alone with tensions rising. Outside, Doris watches the mother house before slipping away into the night. Forced to stay the night inside the London mother house under the vampire's watch, Guy tries to measure Jasper's intentions while hiding his own doubts. Jasper, in turn, treats him with cautious hospitality, uncertain whether Guy's arrival is genuine or a setup orchestrated by the Talamasca. Their mutual distrust begins to soften when Jasper reveals what he knows about Archie's death. The killer was not a human, but a vampire. This opens the door for deeper truths about Jasper's long fight with the Talamasca. Guy presses him about the 752 and why Jasper is so determined to obtain it. Jasper answers by recounting the tragedy that shaped his existence. In the 1200s, a vampire named Facile lived on chicken blood to avoid preying on humans. His fellow vampires saw the practice as dishonorable and when his secret leaked, he was cast out. Centuries later in the 1920s, Facile sought revenge on the vampire who exposed him. To locate his target, he bribed a Talamasca agent, gaining the name of an entire coven. Facile attacked the group, killing humans and vampires alike. 17 were slaughtered. Jasper, then a child vampire, was the only survivor. The Talamasca's willingness to sell secrets and their power to ignite centuries-long feuds among immortals left Jasper without a family or identity. To him, the organization's knowledge is a weapon placed recklessly in the wrong hands. He believes the 752, the codex containing the lost archives, can give vampires leverage against the Talamasca's dominance. Guy realizes this quest may indirectly lead him to his missing mother, giving him his own reason to keep the alliance alive. Jasper then shifts to the present investigation. He suspects a local vampire, Harris, might be connected to the deaths of Archie and Kevis. Harris operates the West Cross, a hotel that functions as the front for his coven. Strange movements around the property suggest Harris may be holding the 752. Jasper assigns Guy to go inside, read minds, and uncover what Harris is hiding. As protection, Jasper sends Checkers, now transformed into a loyal, frenzied vampire, to act as backup. Guy enters the hotel under the guise of a Talamasca agent on assignment. However, he quickly discovers that his powers, long suppressed, are unpredictable under pressure. Before he can regain control, he is approached by Raglan James, a fellow Talamasca agent whose presence is legitimate, unlike Guy's improvised cover. Raglan threatens to expose him unless he leaves immediately. Thinking quickly, Guy reinvents the narrative, telling Raglan that the Talamasca has flagged him for illicit dealings with Harris. Acting as though he is on a classified mission, Guy persuades Raglan to bring him along to the meeting. Meanwhile, Helen begins her own search into her past. She visits the graves of the Stevens couple, who were presented to her as her parents. A weathered bouquet has been left on the tombstones. Believing her missing twin sister may have visited, Helen questions the groundskeeper, who reports seeing no one resembling her. Disturbed, she seeks out Abigail, a woman who grew up with her in the Talamasca facility. Abigail seems unwilling to revisit their shared childhood, and her telekinetic twin, Rose, makes it clear that Helen is not welcome. Yet Abigail slips Helen a note before she leaves. It reads, Jameson equals Melville, hinting at buried information tied to her origins. Back at the West Cross, Guy accompanies Raglan to Harris's suite. The meeting quickly turns hostile. Raglan tries to trade Guy to Harris as payment, pointing to the mind reader's abilities as valuable property. Guy is cornered, but a warning earlier from Doris, Kevis's friend, proves crucial. After failing to persuade Guy to avoid the hotel, Doris secretly sends a coded message to his backup outside. Checkers scales the building and bursts into the suite. Violence erupts as he tears through Harris's men, giving Guy a narrow escape. When the dust settles, the room is littered with bodies. Raglan survives, though his loyalties remain unclear. Guy discovers the suspicious activity around the hotel has nothing to do with the 752. Instead, Harris has been selling ancient vampire blood, harvested from an elder being held captive and drained over time. Jasper arrives and sees it as further proof that immortals suffer because the Talamasca looks away or profits in silence. Guy and Jasper leave the hotel, believing the trail of the 752 has gone cold. They return to the mother house, unaware that Doris, determined to protect Guy, has hidden herself in the trunk of their car. Guy rides with Jasper back toward the London mother house, knowing the vampire is searching for the identity of the woman who saved him. Jasper presses him mercilessly, alternating between taunts and sudden flashes of violence, testing how far Guy can be pushed before he breaks. Though Jasper insists he never lies, Guy senses every word is a performance. When they reach the mother house, Jasper escalates the intimidation. He pins Guy to the ground, accusing the Talamasca of destroying his life and repeating his belief that Guy is only a tool of an organization he despises. He drags Guy into an underground chamber, threatening to turn him into a revenant or feed him to one. Doris bursts into the room with a makeshift incendiary weapon, setting Jasper ablaze long enough for her and Guy to flee the building and steal the van. The episode then shifts to a flashback, revealing Helen's secret past. Her true name is Emma, and she was separated from her twin at a young age before being sent to America under the supervision of a Talamasca handler. On the train, the handler tests her unusual ability to recall minute details with absolute clarity, foreshadowing how the organization shaped her life and skills. The glimpse suggests why Helen became such a key figure within the Talamasca's intelligence ranks. Back in the present, Helen grows worried when Guy misses multiple scheduled handset drops. She finds him in a strip club, where he and Doris are hiding. Guy demands answers about his mother and about the secrets Helen continues to hold back. He also makes it clear he knows she is running an unsanctioned operation and that the elders are unaware of how deeply she has inserted herself into the search for the 752. Helen maintains her guarded posture, blocking her thoughts from Guy's telepathy, but she acknowledges the danger he is in. With Jasper hunting them, Guy asks her to get him out of England and to ensure Doris can travel with him. Despite her reservations, Helen agrees, knowing she cannot let two people die on her watch. Guy and Doris are placed in a Talamasca safe house while arrangements are made. They talk through the night. Guy speaks openly about his mother, describing how she vanished after crossing the Talamasca. Doris listens quietly, her reactions unreadable. Guy senses that Doris is hiding something, but her mind remains closed to him, suggesting she is far more powerful than she presents. What he does not know is that Doris has secretly taken the mysterious black book found in Kevis's bag, something she had told Guy was only a journal. Instead of turning it over, she hides it beneath the bed. Meanwhile, Jasper heals from Doris's attack by consuming the rare, ancient vampire blood being harvested at the Westcroft. The blood accelerates his regeneration, allowing him to resume his pursuit almost immediately. As Greg applies Jasper's blood to a lesion on his skin, a text arrives with Guy's location. Jasper sets out again, determined to intercept him before he can leave the country. Complications grow in London when the revenants Jasper unleashed begin attacking civilians. With checkers among them, the creatures tear through the city unnoticed. Olive observes the carnage from a distance without intervening, her expression unreadable. Her detachment suggests motives that even Helen has not uncovered. At the same time, the police investigation deepens. Ridge and her partner identify Guy in surveillance images from the night of the supposed murder-suicide. The detectives finally access the encrypted drive found in the parcel left by Soledad. The drive contains a photograph of Olive, linking her to the alias Chrysalis, the identity used to extract information from the London mother house. Next, we see Helen arriving at the home of Dr. Jameson, a figure from her past whose name has shadowed her investigation. Though his housekeeper, Patricia, attempts to keep her out, Jameson instantly recognizes her. He understands why she has come and allows her inside, knowing the truth he has carried for decades can no longer remain hidden. In their final conversation, he reveals the full history of the Talamasca program that shaped Helen's childhood and separated her from her twin. Helen learns that the little girl seen in earlier flashbacks was not her, but her sister, born with extraordinary memory abilities and taken to Amsterdam for training. When Jameson finally reveals the name her twin chose for herself, Doris, Patricia kills him, acting under orders to silence him the moment his purpose is fulfilled. Meanwhile, Guy and Doris are brought to the police station after being spotted across London. Ridge interrogates them, but is pulled off the case when Olive arrives under the MI5 alias she has used to infiltrate the Talamasca. Guy senses immediately that Olive is after the book in Doris's bag, and before he can warn her, Jasper's associate Highsmith abducts Doris. As she is forced into the van, her identity is fully revealed. She is a vampire. She kills Highsmith in a burst of instinctive self-defense, returning to Guy drenched in blood. Olive witnesses the aftermath and flees, leaving Doris struggling to hide from the approaching sunrise by climbing into the trunk. Inside her mind, Doris allows Guy to see her life for the first time. He witnesses the moment she and Helen were separated, her brutal training within the Talamasca, the night she was forcibly turned into a vampire, and the years she was used as an immortal repository for the organization's knowledge. Doris reveals she is Project 752, the living vault created to preserve every secret the Talamasca feared losing. Her disappearance left the Amsterdam mother house desperate to recover her, and the events in London exposed enough threads for them to track her again. Helen, now wanted by Interpol due to Olive's carefully planted evidence, works to secure safe passage for Guy and Doris before she allows herself to be arrested. She meets them at Waterloo Station and gives them their final instructions. Though they have no time to speak openly, Helen and Doris recognize each other instantly after decades apart. Helen slips fake passports into the purse of another passenger to avoid the Talamasca's surveillance, and Guy notices the signal. He guides Doris onto the train before their window of escape closes. As Guy and Doris depart England under new identities, Helen turns herself in to Ridge, who has been suspended but remains determined to uncover the truth. Ridge receives the final drop Soledad left behind, exposing Olive's aliases and confirming her infiltration of the Talamasca. Realizing Helen is not the murderer she was accused of being, Ridge prepares to work with her to expose the hidden forces moving through London. Back at the London mother house, Jasper returns to find his movements have been monitored all along. Houseman, the director of the Amsterdam mother house, has sent operatives to capture him. After killing Greg in a final act of rage and betrayal, Jasper is bound and transported to Amsterdam. When he regains consciousness, he faces Houseman, who reveals the decades-old assignment given to another vampire, creating the immortal that became Doris. Houseman intends to force Jasper into repeating the process, transforming a new generation of recruits into vampires under Talamasca control. Far from London, Guy and Doris travel towards safety. In the quiet of the train, Doris tells Guy she may know where his mother is, hinting at a connection the Talamasca has kept buried. As they disappear into the distance, the search for the truth behind Guy's family becomes the final mystery the season leaves open.